Hello and welcome back to the King's Speech. We haven't done one of these since, I think it was Curzon Ashton home when we won 4-1. We did it prior to the game. I think that was the last time we did one of these. So we're now...
Warmer than what it was today anyway, if that was Curzon Ashton, because that was August, wasn't it?
Yeah, August, it's the end of August, yeah. And it's now the 14th of December. We are just talking before the Dover game in the FA Trophy, sat in a nice warm bar in the upstairs VIP area. But guys, what a couple of months it's been. It's been a...
I look back again, I got a sort of a query, but you said 40 points, you'd take that. Well, that was the truth really, but when I sat down and wrote my first programme notes ahead of the first game with Kettering, we sat down and I thought to myself, well, 40 points, 10-4-12, you're going to be happy with that. But just since then, it's just sort of snowballed on and things have carried on. And you just, I do, just pinch yourself, think, well, is it? And, last week, you shouldn't do, but you half took for granted that we were going to win that game against, Blythe Spartans, who were,
last year of playoffs.
And you just, we won that game quite comfortably, really, against an established side. It's just the established sides who we've played, and some of them made them look ordinary. It's just, but long may it continue. We've now obviously surpassed 40 points. Your next target, I suppose, you're going to be counting them off in tens, is 50 points, 60 points. And when you start getting to that stage, you think, well, serious.
It's been incredible, really, hasn't it?
Yeah. Great stuff.
Last season was a. I think it's fair to say last season was a roller coaster, and probably we reached the top of that towards the end of the season with promotion. Yeah. This year, we've just carried that on. Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's been a roller coaster this season. We've just carried on the momentum, and it's just incredible, isn't it? You look at the table now, and I think everybody's in agreement and thinking the same. You are pinching yourself. Top of the National North. Who'd have thought that?
I just thought that at the start, is it a little bit of a surprise element and that kind of thing. We're winning games that were teams just taking us a little bit lightly. But that's now all gone out of the window because, we played some established. So yes, I know there's been a defeat at York and that kind of thing. Guys as well at the start of the season. But you see the Chester game here a few weeks back, probably one of the best games I've seen here for a long, long time. And we were 2-2 against the side, and they're saying, oh, well, we're not really full time, but some of us are, sort of thing. I just thought that was a tremendous fill-up and advert for the club, really. I really did.
We're now sitting on top of the National North, as Greg said, with 44 points after 20 games. We're obviously playing our halfway game against Gloucester next weekend, but we will now look towards Dover today. Obviously, you will know the score by the time this goes out on the channel. But again, Dover flying in the National League. I think they're 6th as we talk. I know they lost to Boreham Wood on the weekend, but that was at home, and their home record hasn't been great this season. I think they've got one of the best away records in the country at the minute, and obviously we've got one of the best home records, so it's going to be quite a good game today.
Yeah, it's one of those games where I think Ian said last week, Ian Culverhouse said nothing to lose, and he's entirely right, because we can go out, play with the freedom which we normally play with, and test ourselves against a team like Dover, who, a manager like Andy Hessen-Taylor, or Taylor, however you pronounce his name.
Andy.
He's done a fantastic job there. So it's a free hit, so to speak. Nobody expects us to win, and there's no pressure on us whatsoever. So it's one of those occasions where we can just enjoy today, and the same goes for the team as well.
I think as well. I said to you, didn't I, Greg? It's just a bit of a yardstick really for us, just to see as to where we are. Well, interestingly, I read yesterday, quite late yesterday, that they're going to use the game today to Dover are apparently to put in some players who haven't had games and mix and match it up a little bit. So, will it be? But it will be a reflection, because these are full time, aren't they? Are they full time?
Yeah, they're full time.
So you're going to see where we are, how we are, and that. But there's nothing really much to fear. I don't think it's a free hit. That's what they're saying. It's a free hit, nothing to lose. It would, I think, from speaking with my club hat on, probably for 30 seconds. It'd be good probably to get a progress, and you've got a cup competition interest after the new year. I know there's lots of interest in the league and everything, but just to keep things bubbling along with a you never know where you could draw, where you could go if you were to get through today. And also as well, the chairman. There's a few quid on the game today. There's some prize money. You know, a little bit of extra money in the kitty at this time of year is always handy. So yeah, it is important. Every game's important, and today is important as well.
Talking about players being out injured and stuff, or Dover trying to change their team up for a bit today. Sam Kelly will be back for today's game. He's got over his groin issue. Obviously, people out today, you've still got Ryan Fryatt, who's long-term still, Smudger's still long-term, and of course Tom Ward is cup-tied. So those are the 3 players that won't be featuring at all today. But again, guys, we haven't spoken about all this team since then. Adam Marriott's now scored 39 goals this calendar year in the league. He's flying. Sam Kelly's come into the team and started playing fantastically. We've got a good side here.
Oh, it's a great side, and you know you add to that. I mean, Sonny Carey, I think, has been tremendous for a young man learning the trade and a step up from step 4, step 5 football up to level 2, and he's taken to it seamlessly, effortlessly, really. You know, come up with some real good goals, a real good driver from midfield. I think he's been an excellent side. And it's a small squad. He always says it's a small squad, which it is, but there's such a togetherness amongst the squad. And it shows on the pitch week in, week out. We're all in it as one. There's no separate little groups. It's all one team that all want to be playing. And obviously, if he's disappointed when he's named 11, and you've got 4 or 5 subs.
And on a footnote, those injuries. I've just been speaking to Pedro on the way in, and he shouldn't be playing. He's got a throat infection, and he's also obviously damaged his finger as well.
Just his finger last week.
And he's been told he shouldn't be playing football for 4 or 5 weeks. What does that tell you? Again, that just shows the commitment at this football club and this group of players. You know, there's no way. You know, you'd have to get 4 or 5 people to drag Pedro off the field. There's no way he wasn't going out there today. But that is just an example of this football club as it stands at the moment. The togetherness is just unreal.
Well, of course, Peds at the minute holds the record for the most appearances for Kings Lynn in their reformed club. Obviously, we'll brush over records. Of course, Mr. Wright died earlier this week, sadly. But what a player he was for the club.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I always think the word legendary is overused, the word legend, not in Mick Wright's case. I mean, I still can't think. I may have just seen Mick probably 1 appearance right towards the end of his career, but, you know, the stats says it all. 1,152 appearances for one club, a British record, and the one which I just go back to continually again, never booked. Not one booking in 1,152 games. And we see players here, we sometimes worrying at the end of October, they're hedging towards 5 bookings and a suspension. You know, when you've got a guy like that who's played all those games and, you know, no bookings and an exemplary disciplinary record as well as being a stalwart of the club. I mean, the disappointment for me is that, you know, I know Keith Rudder's here later, another stalwart, but Keith worked tirelessly, especially over the past 3 or 4 years, for him to try and get the freedom of the borough for Mick. Never ever granted, which I think is an absolute travesty, my own personal opinion, but he should have been honoured, and I just hope now he won't see it, but the family would know about it, and you know, that he's going to be honoured somehow, remembered by the club here. I know that we're quite keen to do a permanent memorial here for Mick, which we'll be getting on with and speaking about when the chairman's back, but obviously I would like as well to see the council do something as well in the town, or maybe something just to assist just in Mick's honour, because I mean those records are never ever going to be beaten, I'm sure.
No, I mean it's just not a case of, you know, what a great servant he was to the club. Everybody you speak to, when they talk of Mick Wright, they talk about what an inspiration he was to them, and even after he finished his football career, he was still an inspiration to so many people. And despite his record here at the club as well, he never wanted the limelight for it. You know, he was one of those guys who just got on with his job, and he was just loved by everybody. You know, such, you know, players like that, you don't get a few and far between. You won't get another player with that type of record at any club now. I mean, that's just what he did for this club was phenomenal, really.
And as you say, he was unassuming as well. He was down, if you remember, at the start of the season when they opened the wall downstairs in the bay, opened up, and he's an unassuming guy, just unassuming, didn't want any limelight, didn't want any plaudits for what he'd done, just got on with it, and that really was him all over. A great guy. Sadly missed him. We're going to honour him this afternoon with a minute's silence. And we are also going to do a minute's applause on 77, which we've never done as far as I'm aware at the club before. And the flag's out there at half-mast, no problems there at all. We're looking forward to it, and he should be honoured in the right way. But as I say, I'd just like to see something permanent from the council, and I know that the club will be doing something permanent as well, which I think is great.
Yes. Of course, for the sad news, as Mark said, there's going to be a minute's silence at the start of this game to honour Mr. Wright. But now we look forward to what a fantastic period of football we've now got over the Christmas period. We've got Gloucester, who have been the closest team to making the home record disappear. Obviously, Marriott scoring a 94th minute equaliser against them at the Walks. We've then got obviously the 2 games against Boston on Boxing Day and New Year's Day, and Alfreton in between, who of course are one of the main rivals of the year this season. But of course, guys, Boston aren't going to be hard. It is going to be a hard game both times against them this year. They're pushing as well this year. Playoffs for them.
Yeah, I mean, we'd had a chat again in the week, haven't we, Greg, about Boston? And, I think what could be pivotal to Boston is what happens on Monday night. We're not involved when they play Rochdale.
Yes,
They've got a cup reap. If they win that, we all know they've got Newcastle just after us on the Saturday after the New Year's Day. And don't get me wrong, Boxing Day here is going to be intense. I can see 3,000 plus people there for that game. I think ticket sales are going very, very well already, which is great news. It's a big game, as you say. They're pushing for promotion. Everybody knows where we are in the table, so it's going to be something there to go up. But I think New Year's Day, if they win on Monday night, and I think they've got a great chance actually home against Rocks. I think Greg was saying they've sold a lot of tickets for that. If they get through that, Newcastle, those players are going to have one eye surely on the New Year's Day for the game 2 or 3 days after, because they're going to be wanting to play against Newcastle at Boston, aren't they?
I don't know about this, but would there be any chance of New Year's Day being postponed because of that game, do you think?
I would think it would be played. I would think. I've seen in Boston release stuff that they've sort of said that they're going to be, it's down to be played regardless of what happens. Okay. I would think they'll probably still play it. I mean, but they say one eye is not going to be fully focused. That's my opinion. Might be wrong, but that's just my opinion.
We've waited best part of 12 years for this fixture again. I think it is something along those lines. I mean, what a fantastic fixture to have. I mean, this is the game which all the fans, both sets of fans, look forward to so much. There's always been a huge amount of rivalry between the two clubs. 30 miles apart, 35 miles apart. It's going to be a fantastic occasion. Both games are, and obviously for no more so than Mr. Bastock, obviously.
Of course.
Who's his playing career at Boston was, he was regarded as probably one of the best goalkeepers in non-league football, I think, at the time.
Sonny, as well, you mentioned the miles. It's a proper derby. There's 35 miles between the team. I think last New Year's Day we trudged off to Needham Market, I think, didn't we, on a New Year's Day morning? Well, that really is not a derby as such. This is a real derby. A lot of feelings that there's going to be a lot of people watch those 2 games over the space of that week, and it's big. And then if we can come out unscathed from that, say with 4 points, you're really then going to be looking at pushing on again. So big. Every game is going to be big now. There's no doubt about that. Every game is going to be big.
Well, yeah, of course, we've got those 2 games in that time, but then obviously in January we've got York and Chester again. Obviously we're going away to Chester, but York will be at home. We've got a lot of big games coming up, and of course I think, looking at it now, by the end of January I think that's when we'll be looking to see what we do, because after those 2 again, I think that'll be the big test for us.
Yeah, I think York and Chester, they're going to be pivotal now to what happens in the next few months, but obviously spending more at home as well. Can't forget them. They've really picked up since we picked a point up there. And let's be honest, we were fortunate that day to come away with a point. But you know, they are why we, you know, the games we came in this league for. So it's just, you know, you get Boston out of the way, and it's just not going to stop. January's going to be a real fantastic month.
Yeah, it's a big month, isn't it? I mean, you look at it and you think, oh, yeah, it was big anyway before we even got played ourselves into the position we're in. It's now even bigger when you look at all the other extras that go with it as well. You know, a trip up the chest, if that's going to be difficult. But York are beatable. You know, Curzon the other week proved that.
1-0,
They're not scoring many goals. I mean,
they haven't scored many in the last couple of weeks, have they?
And I think the goals they have scored, they got 3 against us on the day. I think we caught them, I think, that day on a really hot day. I think they were very good that day.
Clinical.
They were very clinical and good. But ever since then, I mean, they've lost. I mean, Altrincham have beaten them twice, I think. They haven't scored many goals. Lost drop points at Hereford and all that kind of thing, and Kettering as well. So, you know,
I can't actually think when they last actually scored a goal. So I'm sure they lost both games against Altrincham 1-0, and then Kettering was 0-0. I think they drew with Hereford. Was it?
I think
Hereford
2-2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they've only scored 2 goals in the last 4 games they've played. So looks like they're on their blip. Well, obviously we had a blip when we drew every game for 2 months. So we've had our kind of blip, but now going into what will be a fantastic period of football. Obviously, Marriott is on 39 goals for the calendar year. We've got 3 league games left in the calendar year. How many goals do you think he can rack up in those 3 league games? At the minute, he's averaging a goal a game.
Well, he'd like to score against his old team, wouldn't he? That's a definite.
I think he might have a point to prove to Craig Elliott. I think
it'd be a point there to prove. Look, you know, Adam Marriott is a fantastic player. He's going to score goals wherever he is, and I think whoever he's playing for, he needs the correct service. He's getting the correct service here. There's no doubt about that as well. Look, you know, could he end up with 30 plus goals? I think he could. If he can stay fit, I think he'd end up with easily 30 plus goals.
Well, he only needs 9 more goals.
And he's going to beat it. So, you know, but he may well come to a stage where the goals do dry up. It does happen.
Yeah.
It does happen where the goals, he might get a little, we hope he doesn't, touch wood, a knock or an injury, misses a couple of games. You hope he doesn't.
Well, he had the knock against Farsley, and obviously we came out of that with a 2-1 win, so we've had a game without him, so we just hope that he doesn't get injured, of course, touching wood, because he is our main goal scorer this season. Obviously we've now had Gashi score a couple of goals in a few games, so he's now coming back into a bit of form. Obviously Henderson has been pivotal for the team, scoring a few goals. I think right now, I think this is probably the best I've seen us play. We're on a run where I think we've now won the last 7 league games, so I think we're on a good run of form here. Of course, we've got Dover today, but yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting period coming up.
Definitely. At this time of year as well, of course, not only about the football, it's all about Christmas as well.
Yes.
The players will have to look after themselves properly. I'm sure they will. That goes without saying.
No big Christmas dinners on Christmas Day.
Exactly. But I mean, my message to the supporters is have a wonderful Christmas. Enjoy the time of the year. It's a great time of the year. Enjoy yourselves. But I say, don't forget about us Boxing Day. I'm sure you can't. Big game, Alfred and away, and of course another trip to Boston on New Year's Day. So it's a big period for the football club.
Yes.
But in that meantime, a great Christmas to everybody, and thanks as always for all the support.
Yeah, and let's see some extra support for these games. I know we keep saying it, but now, you know, Boston will take care of itself. But the games against Spennymoor at home, York City at home. Let's get 1,500, 2,000 people there.
And we should be. I'm not going to beat about the bush. We should be. We should be getting bigger crowds than what we're getting at the moment. The football is fantastic. We're all saying that. Great advert for the club. We're putting the town on the map. People are sitting up and talking about Kingsland Football Club. It's just have a few more locals down to watch us. Then everything will be great in the garden.
Yeah. Yes. Well, saying about crowds, we've had at least 320 people subscribe to the channel over the last 2 weeks. Of course, that was a big help from Lelujo, and Kevin Chapman is his real name. He's been a great part of that, but I want to try and get these people that have subscribed to come down to the game. It's always a good game at the Walks to come and watch, so try and get down for the Boston game on Boxing Day if you can. Have a nice Christmas football game, and obviously in January give us a bit more support. But I think that's it from us today. I think.
Everything covered.
Have a great Christmas, everybody, and have a great New Year.
Great
too.
Christmas,
Have a great
New Year.
Christmas.
And we will be back in 2020.
2020. Let's hope Kingston are still top of the league. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you later.